Let's go into our news of the week, which is brought to you by Eagle Mortgage. EagleMortgageCompany.com is where they reside online. They reside in person at 114th and Davenport. But Holly Schneiderwind and her team at Eagle Mortgage, they've been with us here on Grow Omaha for about 8 years now. We've been partnering with them for a long time. And over those 8 years, we have referred countless homeowners, home buyers, home loan borrowers to Eagle Mortgage. And everyone we've ever referred there has always been so happy with the results. They say things like, Jeff and Trenton, Holly and her team really took good care of us. Their mortgage brokers listen. And the nice thing about a mortgage broker, they get to shop the entire market. They're not beholden to one bank, and so they can find the best solution for you. So if you're thinking about making that big decision, a new house, definitely talk to Eagle Mortgage. You'll be happy that you did. EagleMortgageCompany.com. Well, Trenton, let's get into the news of the week. First of all, the mayor, Gene Stothert, will not recommend an annexation package this year. Now, there are 139 SIDs, sanitary improvement districts, in Douglas County that would be eligible for city annexation. This is very unusual, but Mayor Stothert's administration has some criteria that they depend on to determine whether adding an SID would make financial sense for the city, and apparently there are none that make sense.
Well, what sanitary and improvement districts are basically a taxing authority, and if the debt is too high on those, the city, when they annex those areas, they actually float municipal bonds, and in exchange for that, they get the taxes. But if the debt's too high, it just doesn't make sense, and so it's probably a smart move on her part, and that just means next year there'll be a lot more.
Yeah, hopefully next year some of them will be ready. As a taxpayer in the city of Omaha, I applaud the mayor and her administration for being careful about that. As a guy who's really excited to see Omaha city limits pass 500,000, I was a little bit disappointed we didn't annex city one this year. But we're right
up there, are we?
Yeah, the city limits are really within a whisker. 490, 490 or something like that. Yeah, so within a couple of years, the city of Omaha will definitely be over 500,000.
Well, here's a public service announcement. So I've had people in our office as well as friends and business or real estate owners ask about protesting taxes. And I believe this is the month where you can send them in and stuff, but you can go to dcassessor.org to find out about it. But June is the deadline for protesting 2023 valuations. You're not protesting taxes, you're protesting the valuation of your property. And they make you give comps and good reason and things like that. And then those are actually due and payable December 31st, 2023, but they're not delinquent, nor do they accrue interest until April 1 and August 1 of 2024. So we pay in arrears. So we're paying 2023 taxes that they're assessing now in 2024.
Well, the opening date for the future Moxie by Marriott Hotel at 12th and Harney Street in the Old Market has been delayed. Most recent opening date had been declared as June 30th. Now it's looking to be July 27th. This is a 6-story, 105-room hotel, new to Nebraska. Closest existing locations, Minneapolis and Chicago. This is one that we've been talking about for a long time.
I bet you it's been 4 or 5 years since they announced this.
Has to be, yeah. Yeah, it seems like
this is where the diner was.
Every once in a while, these hotels seem to take a little longer to build than one might think. Now, in fairness, there was a pandemic in there, and it's a tough site because it's a tiny, tiny little site that they're putting this building on. But interesting how some of these hotels just seem to take a while.
Interesting article about the M's Pub fire, finding MUD responsible for half, and then was it the vendor? I think that was responsible for the other half, but. The M's Pub owners got about $3 million for lost wages and rebuild and things like that. They didn't settle early. They stuck it out for it's 2016, so 7 years basically. So they got what they were due. And I sent you a picture. It was on January 9th, 2016, and it was like 2 something in the afternoon. I'm eating at Trini's with a friend. hear this boom, the building shakes, and I go out and I take a picture about 2 minutes after the explosion.
And there was just a little bit of fire in the picture.
Just a little bit of fire. And
And little did we know that little bit of fire would completely gut that building later in the day.
unbelievable how long that's gone on.
Yeah, that it's hard to believe that was in 2016, and it's hard to believe that it takes that long just to get these things.
To litigate that stuff.
Well, and the place where Gather in Omaha, good solid restaurant around the corner from M's Pub. I mean, it's amazing how many years that space was empty before Gather was able to open.
Well, and that was it called Market House, I think?
Yeah, and then before that it was where
for like
Vivace.
a couple months or whatever. Yeah, it was Vivace, and that Gather goes all the way back. And it's cool, and they have the microgreens in the basement that they grow.
Neat place.
Without soil.
So the Baby Bob Bridge.
I want my baby Bob, baby Bob, baby Bob.
I want my baby Bob. This is the pedestrian bridge, which will lead to the pedestrian bridge. So we've got the Bob Carey Missouri River pedestrian bridge, and it's great, and people love it. But the problem is, if you're in North Downtown and you're not familiar with the area, people think to themselves, how the hell do I get to that bridge? Well, this is going to span the railroad tracks. We've been talking about it for years. It has been delayed, according to the World Herald. This is because of material shortages. No surprise there. Material shortages have been a big deal in the construction industry. The starting date will now be October. And instead of, it was supposed to start last month. Now it'll be October, and it should take about a year and a half.
Wow.
So it'll be nice to get that done. Now, the city of Omaha has approved $551,000 to study and determine if West Maple Road should be expanded from 4 lanes to 6 lanes between Interstate 680 to the east and out at Highway 275 to the west. Glad we're doing this. My hope is that the study indicates that, yes, indeed it does, because the traffic can be quite sluggish on that time. And plus, there's a ton of growth coming in far northwest Omaha. I will say this, though, Trenton, in my humble opinion, I think 204th Street is going to need that widening before Maple does, because 204th Street already is getting pretty thick, and there are still countless acres between West Dodge Road and Gretna that are going to be developed, and there's no place to put another major north-south road any further to the west because the river bluff is there. In fact, in some ways I say, I wish the Nebraska Department of Roads or the city of Omaha or Douglas County, who was ever involved in it, made that a freeway from day one when they first widened it. It was kind of short-sighted. And I know money is always an issue, but that desperately needs to be a freeway. So we got 2 issues there, 204th Street and West Maple Road.
It's unfortunate that we didn't have the foresight to do an 880 loop, like 680 loop, and then a 880. And the de facto is 204th Street, Highway 31, Highway 6. And we developed from 1998, the Thompson Family Farm from 168 to 177th Street. And I remember one of the things that were attractive, besides some turning lanes or whatever, the 4-lane divided highway was already in, and that really spurred development. So I think it's important to widen it now, even if it's not needed for 5 years, which I think it is already needed. Do it while it's a lot easier to do.
Yeah, the city of Omaha has released a 20-year citywide facilities plan for the libraries. No libraries are slated to close according to that plan. The libraries will need a grand total of an additional 100,000 square feet of public space. Most of that needs to be in West Omaha, where all the growth has been so explosive. Should cost a projected $215 million. Several existing library buildings would be renovated over that 20-year period. Of course, a new library being proposed for Southwest Omaha would be a nice addition.
Is the one on 72nd and Dodge that's going to be awesome? Is that included in that price?
Well, I don't believe so.
Kudos to the Heritage.
Because that one's already a done deal. That one starts construction next month.
Heritage, does it really? Heritage Omaha.
Or demolition of the due space.
Heritage Omaha has really stepped up as far as libraries go.
Oh, yeah. We have to be very thankful for that organization. You know, there's one issue, and there are going to be some listeners who live in the area near Swanson Library that are going to not like to hear me saying this, but if we're opening a new major flagship library at 72nd and Dodge, Do we really still need Swanson Library at 90th and Dodge? That seems awfully close.
Well, I'm sure it's antiquated, and it may still have the Dewey Decimal System and the card catalog in there. And I wonder if they have microfiche still.
I don't know. The last time I set foot in Swanson Library, I was probably like in 4th grade. But nice place. But seriously, if you're going to have the flagship library at 72nd, sell that land to a developer. There's an Orbit stop right there. That'd be a great place for like a 5-story apartment building close to the Orbit and that sort of thing.
Yeah, or like a modern version of Swanson Tower or something like that.
I'm sure the people who
we could keep it we can make it residential.
I'm sure the people who live in that neighborhood who love the fact that their kids can walk to the library are cursing me right now, but it does seem awfully close.
It's kind of a concrete.
Yeah,
edifice,
it's definitely looking dated. Well, there is a really small but very cool addition to downtown Omaha that happened this week. It's a miniature park, and it is on the northwest corner of 12th and Capitol Avenue. If you can picture that space, there's a parking garage. It serves that building that has the World Herald in it to the south. So there's this parking garage. It sits back kind of a ways, and there's kind of a grass area that dips down there. Well, National Indemnity, which owns it, made this happen financially. E&A Consulting did the design. Mulhall's Nurseries did the installation. But they put a miniature park, or sometimes people call them pocket parks, and it's baseball themed. They painted a beautiful baseball mural on 2 corners panels of this parking garage, put in like a little home plate. It's tiered and terraced, a lot of seating areas. Just kind of a nice little, it's part little seating area, part little piece of art.
What was there? Was it just a grassy area?
Just grassy area and trees. So, and kudos to everyone involved in it, because it's the little things like that.
They didn't get any credit for it on the property. They couldn't have signage.
Yeah, it's the little things like that, Trenton, that just make the city look a little sharper, a little more exciting, and that's a nice addition to the downtown area.
The stakeholders and people give here, and we do our best on this show and other forms of philanthropy. Everybody contributes, and it's you pay it forward, you educate the up-and-comers in your industry, and that's what's so special about Omaha.
And that is your news of the week, which is brought to you by Eagle Mortgage. You can find them at eaglemortgagecompany.com or at 114th and Davenport Street.
If you like this video, be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. And remember, Grow Omaha is not just media. This is a mission. We are trying to build up Omaha and make it an even better place. We can only do that with your help. Share this video with your friends, neighbors, and family.